Dead Space 2's hardcore difficulty has gained notoriety over the past year, with both achievement and trophy hunters alike struggling their way through the game in pursuit of the hard to the core achievement. Now, my toxic trait as a gamer is that I see people do things which require both great skill, great patience, and I assume I can easily do it myself. Now, spoiler alert, I have no skill or patience, and the only thing that really comes easy to me on hardcore is death.
Why does it stomp him? I thought he was dead because he wasn't moving. Oh my god.
Dead Space 2's hardcore difficulty unlocks once you complete the game just one single time, and to put it simply, it is very brutal. The enemy difficulty is somewhere between survivalists and zealots, and item drops are the same as zealot mode, which is the traditional hardest difficulty. To make matters worse, and this is a real sticking point here, you only get a total of 3 saves in the entire game. Now, having 3 saves is a bit of a delicate balance. You don't want to push too far and risk losing loads of progress, but if you use all 3 saves too early, you're going to have to do all the most difficult chapters at the end in one go. So as the intro plays out, I obviously went into this with a bit too much confidence, once again, toxic trait. On top of not doing a practice run beforehand, I also opted against using guides, using any of the DLC weapons or suits, and I avoided the item duplication glitch which you can use to get all of your upgrades really early on. Apart from noting down some advised places to save, I was going into this completely blind. The game starts up with Franco trying to free us from our straitjacket.
You're in terrible danger. Oh, Jesus. I think you're at worst danger, pal.
Before he can do this though, he's unfortunately killed by a necromorph and we're off and running. We're still trapped in the jacket, weaponless, and we're surrounded by necromorphs. Needless to say, this is not particularly ideal.
I can't remember the controls. Oh no. LB. Fuck you, bitch. I don't know if one hit kills me, but I'm hoping I don't have to find out. Oh god. Hey, am I taking damage? Fuck you. Well, I don't know if that's intended, but my health is very low already.
Naturally, the start of the game eases you into things nice and slowly. We meet this guy that very kindly frees us, offers us a health pack and flashlight as he won't be needing them anymore, and then, yeah, maybe I'll censor this bit.
For what we did to you.
We make sure he's dead, just in case.
Sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Before continuing on and obtaining the Kinesis module. Now, Kinesis allows you to pick up and throw objects, and using this to impale enemies is especially important on hardcore because it helps you preserve your ammo. We impale our first few necromorphs, and shortly afterwards we obtain our trusty plasma cutter, which is going to be our main weapon for this entire playthrough.
Ooh. Oh yes, now you're talking my language. Oh shit, I messed already.
After this we also get the stasis module. Now, stasis can be used to freeze enemies in place temporarily, and it is absolutely crucial, especially in rooms that are completely bombarded with enemies, and there are quite a lot of those by the end of the game. Now, it does have limited charge, so we have to use it sparingly, but it really is a lifesaver. The remainder of chapter 1 goes pretty smoothly until this tripod surprises me in the final room. Now, I have a number of close calls here, miss my stasis a bunch, and I end up in panic mode, but eventually we get the thing down. The devs do get the last laugh here though, and they absolutely scare the life out of me.
Fucking scared the life out of me.
Now, these jump scares were a common thing. I don't handle horror very well anyway, and hardcore just makes it even worse. Here's a couple of examples from literally just chapter 2 alone.
Oh, you bastard! Fucking piss! God. I'm not made for this shit. Fucking piss! I thought the man was coming alive, it wasn't, but there was someone behind me. Oh, Jesus. Oh my god, it's fucking flinched with my own gun reload.
Ignoring all of these jump scares, chapter 2 is also smooth sailing up until this final section where we end up dangling upside down from a train with a load of enemies rushing us. Now, if we pause here, you can see stacks of ammo on the floor and breakable boxes everywhere with items in. I did run out of ammo here, and I was so panicked I even tried to throw the ammo from the floor at enemies at one point. I didn't even take just a second to compose myself. Needless to say, I then stupidly accepted my fate and just hung there until I got my first death. Devastating.
Oh shit. I've got no ammo. Oh shit. Oh my god. I can't do anything. Ah, no ammo. I really hope I don't have to see this cutscene again.
Yeah, that's right. After sitting through the whole intro cutscene again, I basically jinxed myself. After a decent start to my first run, cut short by my own stupidity, I decided not to learn from my mistakes whatsoever. Just 25 minutes into my second run, 2 necromorphs spawn on me. One seemingly dies in 3 shots, the other dies in 4. I do notice this, but instead of just shooting one more shot to make sure it's dead, I ran straight over its body to stomp it, and I died in 1 hit.
Why didn't I stomp him? I thought he was dead because he wasn't moving. Oh my god.
This was now my 3rd time watching this gentleman go crazy, and I was in the zone and determined to not have to see it again.
I'll be honest, it's slightly less horrifying after the 3rd time seeing it. I'll make sure I'm full health this time after my last experience. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
I've only got one dart, and I missed.
Okay, now I'm going to argue here that the game screwed me. I couldn't pick up anything with Kinesis, and I felt my shot went straight through the necromorph. Anyway, new death speedrun PB anyone?
I couldn't pick up the things. Okay, well, that's 11 minutes well spent. Oh, fuck me.
I know you're confused right now.
I'm not confused, mate. I've seen you 4 times in the last 2 weeks.
Safe to say I was getting a little bit angry at this point. It really had taken me 2 weeks to stomach replaying the intro this many times, but it was time to focus down. We killed the necromorph that likes playing dead, we actually hit our kinesis shots once, and then we almost get sucked out of a decompression window because we were busy reading a message, but we won't talk about that.
Oh shit. Oh my god, I was reading a message. Oh my god, I could have died then again. Oh.
On to chapter 2, and we might have fallen for the same jump scare we fell for the previous week.
Oh shit in fucking bloody hell.
We then upgrade the health on our rig so we can survive a hit or two before ensuring that we have ample ammo so that we can actually complete the train section finally.
Okay, well, we've made it further than our best attempts.
We were back into the unknown with chapter 3. Yes, 2 weeks of gameplay, and this was the furthest that we got. There's 15 chapters, by the way. We meet these child enemies for the first time. They do die in 1 hit, but they always swarm you, and it can make life rather stressful at times.
It was not very clean, I won't lie. Oh, you bastard.
At the end of the chapter, we end up backing ourselves into a corner because we are painfully stupid, and we narrowly escape death, somehow.
Where the fuck did he come from? Fuck me, how did that not kill me, that explosion?
Just after this, we finally reach the end of chapter 3. Now, if I pause here for just a moment, I'd love to ask you guys, which of these 2 paths would you take? Number 1, the bullet-riddled left path, or number 2, the nice, clear path? I'll give you just a moment to decide. That's it, time's up guys. Obviously, if you went for path 2, you are sensible, more sensible than me. I chose path 1.
Oh, fuck.
Attempt 5 doesn't start very well. 10 minutes in, I'm wondering why I have so many health packs, and I realise I didn't even choose hardcore difficulty.
Whoa, how did I just see it full? Where have I got all of this from? How have I got so much ammo and... Huh? Oh, wait a second.
That minor blip aside, we start again and it's time for business. Chapter 1 breezes through pretty smoothly, minus the tripod jump scare which manages to get us once again. Chapter 2, I nearly blow myself up and we have a couple of very close calls, but survival is all that matters at this point for me. Chapter 3, and that's right, I finally choose the correct path, and we actually managed to reach Chapter 4 for the first time ever, 6 attempts in.
The fact I had to replay all of that just because of that. Unbelievable.
The issue we now had is, whilst the previous 3 chapters were all very familiar to me, Chapter 4 was a complete unknown. I was planning to use my first save at the start of Chapter 5, so Chapter 4 was the only thing now standing in my way. We took things super slow here to try not to make any mistakes, but needless to say, I was very on edge once again.
Fucking Jesus. Oh god, that fucking scared me. Oh, shoot.
Jump scares aside though, this chapter actually wasn't too bad. There are a few quite big fighting sections, and we also get introduced to one of the worst enemies in the whole game. I believe these are called stalkers, and what they do is they hide behind objects before charging at you at full speed. Now they're quite easy to deal with in this first scenario because it's a wide open space and they're by themselves, but unsurprisingly, that's about the only time that they're easy to deal with. With the stalkers all dead, we clear out the final few rooms ahead of us before eventually reaching Chapter 5, and with that, our first save of the game.
Chapter 5. And I think we're going to do it. Save, please. There we go, save 1 out of 3 done.
With save 1 now in the books, we could finally breathe. Our next save was planned for Chapter 11. Now this does sound very far away, but Dead Space 2 actually runs on 2 discs, and the disc switch around Chapter 7 automatically gives you an extra save for as long as you keep the game on.
Oh, you bastards.
Around this point in the game, I'd say the tides really do start to turn in your favour. Your upgrades are making you a lot stronger and you're also gaining a lot more credits, which means that both ammo and health are much more plentiful than they were in the early game.
Oh, fucking great.
A tripod grabs us at this point and I was legitimately worried that he slammed down and killed me. Once we were finally free, the pack also swarmed us, but for once in our lives, we actually used our brains. We backed into this small corridor, making life super easy to clean them up. And yes, you can literally just throw dead bodies at them and they die instantly.
What the... Oh mate, I am so happy I ran in this room, oh my god.
The remainder of Chapter 5 was pretty pain-free, although we learned around this time, unfortunately, that elevators are no longer a safe space for us.
Fucking you bastard. It's supposed to be my safe space.
Chapter 6 was a little bit dicey. We're introduced to pregnants for the first time, and this room also has tons of these enemies that jump at you. I naturally trap myself in a corner and things get a little bit tense here.
Oh my god. Mate, how do I dodge that? Oh my shit, I was looking at my phone. God, mate, these elevators are dangerous now.
Soon afterwards, we reach another one of these rooms, which has more of the charging enemies. Now, fortunately, in someone's achievement video that I saw, they figured out that you can sit just outside of this door and they'll never pass a barrier towards you. Now, that is perfect, but it means they're not aggressive to you, so you still have to kind of poke your head in, and I did get hit a few times, but it was still far easier than doing it the right way.
You fuckers. Look at the damage it did. Holy smokes.
We finish clearing out this room, and shortly afterwards we meet Ellie. Now, Ellie is one of the few other survivors in this game, and ultimately we're now going to be working with her to try and escape together.
You want to talk? You talk from there. Don't say you're gonna help. The last person who said that tried to kill me.
Hey, take it easy. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, you got that right. You try it, and you're dead.
Okay.
We have a bit of a nightmare in this next room. We're swarmed by tons of enemies, and there are also these little growths which are dotted on surfaces. What they do is they fire explosives at you if you get too close. Now, I basically get hit by absolutely everything here, and I end up very close to dying a number of times.
Oh, Oh shit. This ended up being a fucking costly room, hasn't it?
I revisit the shop here and you can see I literally have 21,000 credits, no heals whatsoever, and literally 9 shots of ammo, so it's really not going very well.
No heals left, so everything's got to go on that.
We reached the
not
notorious
those
school section
bloody
here where we're
things.
finally introduced to the babies. Now that's all I'll say.
Ah, yes. Its face. Well, I've got a mayor here, haven't I? Doesn't pay to be a teacher these days. You fuckers.
After being scared half to death by the sun, we hacked the circuit and sure enough, all the enemies I remembered from years earlier all appeared at once. They couldn't reach me without climbing up onto the stage, so this was really just more of a target practice exercise than anything else. After everything was dead, I looted everything up and entered the final room on this chapter. It's at this point in time we have one of those really classic video game moments where we're in this unusually large and open room with the NPC above us and out of reach in what looks like a much more safe area than we're in. Unsurprisingly, at this point in time we're rushed by our first brute of the game. These guys do take a lot of shots to die, but we had ample space around us so we could stasis him and take him out with relative ease.
Tell you what, that was actually clean.
Are you alright? I think that's all of them. For now.
As we get into the elevator here, we do get a please wait message appear for a second or two. I assume this is supposed to be the disc switch, but it never actually made us switch the disc. We reached chapter 7 at this point, but as I wasn't sure whether the disc switch had worked, we were pushing onwards to chapter 9 with the assumption that we hadn't had a save since the start of chapter 5. The pressure has certainly started to increase here. Chapter 7 kicks off with this notorious tripod elevator section. Sadly, as I hadn't been using guides, I didn't have the force gun. Now most people recommend using the force gun because you can just push the enemies straight off the side, but I had to make do with the plasma cutter. Despite this, we survived the section taking just a few minor hits and we managed to maintain almost all of our supplies.
Is that all of them? Bloody hell.
This chapter was pretty long, but it was actually super productive for us. We nearly maxed out our plasma cutter and we also visited the secret room. This allowed us to collect both the Peng treasure and a bunch of extra loot. All that loot helped us to get a big suit upgrade, and after a few more manic fights, the chapter was done and dusted. Relatively pain-free.
It's open. Isaac, go.
That's a bit spicy, wasn't it?
Chapter 8 was now all that stood in the way of our next save. Right away we're thrown into a couple of big fights, but we tried to keep our distance and play it safe. It also threw in a 0G section here, and there's also objects everywhere that can insta-kill me. To make matters even worse, in the room straight after this, there's flaming rings and a creature that launches projectiles at you. I knew if the projectiles hit me, I'd be knocked into the rings and I'd die straight away, so I was really on edge during this whole section. Fortunately, that was the last perilous section of the chapter, and shortly afterwards we finally get to make our second save.
Okay, that's a save done. Oh, literally, that is chapter 9. Oof.
So with the second save used at chapter 9 due to not knowing if the disc swap save worked, we now had one save left to use, with the goal for this being chapter 13. I was very happy that I chose to save when I did, because chapter 9 didn't get off to the strongest of starts.
Oh, scare the fucking life out of me. Oh my god.
Within about 2 minutes, I'd taken loads of damage and got scared half to death. 5 minutes later, it got even worse. I shot a decompression window in this room to make some achievement progress, and I was pretty convinced that necromorphs got sucked out of windows faster than Isaac did. Well, it turns out I was wrong, and yeah.
Bastard. What have I done that for? Why have I done it when I'm right next to it?
Now, I can accept just one quick death due to my own stupidity, but I didn't want a repeat of the struggle that I had getting to my first save, so I really had to focus up here. Our second attempt was surprisingly clean. We have a bunch of really solid moments of combat during the fighting. We end up in another room that's filled with stalkers here, and to make matters worse, they also throw in a bunch of those little trip mine enemies. Now, we do get slapped around a bunch here, I'm not gonna lie, but we do just about make it out alive.
Oh, fucking twat.
Before finally reaching this tripod section at the end of the chapter. Now what you need to do here is kite this tripod around this small room whilst you slowly blow up a blockage. Unfortunately you have to wait for the explosives to respawn, so it does take you a while. This got a little bit stressful at times, but we managed to avoid taking any damage, and shortly afterwards the chapter was over.
Run, please run. Oof.
Chapter 10, and we're actually back on the Ishimura, which is the ship where the original game is set. Now, some of you may recognise this room we're currently in. It's actually the room in Dead Space 1 where you get your plasma cutter. Now, I thought this was a very cool addition. You can still see the cut off their limbs sign on the wall, although it's a little bit faded.
Oh my god, I recognise this room, so I played the remake recently. This is where you get the plasma cutter in the original, I think, right here. Yeah, cut off their limbs.
You're thrown right in at the deep end here. Now, this first section has back-to-back brutes.
Oh, motherfucker. Okay, there's a reason for the ammo. Oh, fuck. It's a fucking second one.
Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Followed by a whole horde of enemies, and that really had me worried because we're a very long way from our next save. Unfortunately for me, the whole rest of this chapter maintains pretty much the same pace. There's a narrow corridor shortly afterwards which is filled with loads of enemies, and that's followed almost straight afterwards by a decontamination room where we end up trapped in it and rushed by enemies. I'm really not having a very good time here.
No, 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 no. Oh, fuck. Oh, you bastard! Go on in! Oh, shit. Oh my god. I imagine this is what my room would look like to my mum if she ever took a blacklight into it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And because we never ever end on a high note, we methodically clear this final room of all of the stalkers and spitters, just to realise that there were 2 left and we had basically ran out of both ammo and heals.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no ammo. I literally have 2 bullets.
We do just about survive though, and chapter 11 starts with us crash landing and Ellie in a little spot of bother.
Oh, mate. Okay, going into chapter 11, I literally have 8 ammo for my super strong weapon, and like 1 million ammo for a weapon that's not upgraded, so this might be bad.
The first room of this chapter had a lot of stalkers and other enemies, so we played it surprisingly well to conserve our ammo. We also had a 0G section in this level that had insta-kill lasers absolutely everywhere, and this did have me very much on edge. You can kind of float a bit too far forward and the momentum can carry you into them, but we took our time and we actually did survive it just fine. The real standout from this chapter though was just how many large combat sections there were. Most of them went pretty smoothly, but the chapter does end with another notorious elevator section. All we did here was camp in a corner and use the stasis and plasma cutter, and we got out of the far end relatively unscathed.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We'd reached chapter 12 and that meant we were just one chapter from our final save. Now chapter 12 is actually very short, which is really good, but unfortunately it does have another notorious section in it. The chapter starts with us needing to hunt down both a power cell and a circuit board for this drill. This only takes us a few minutes, and upon returning and installing them we need to briefly hold off the pack whilst Ellie turns the drill around. Now the notorious section starts when we actually board the drill. We're now stuck on here as we tunnel through the level and we're swarmed endlessly by enemies. I was very worried about this, but it was actually way easier than I expected and I barely took a hit at all. After surviving the horde, we crash our way through the wall into government sector and we are finally greeted by another glorious save point.
Some people recommend waiting. I think I'm just going to go for it just so it's done. Okay, so let's save. That is my final save being used. Yes, I am certain.
After a whole lot of suffering and stress, our final save was used and we were now in the home stretch. We start the chapter off by launching Ellie's escape pod and essentially sacrificing ourselves, before sitting down and having a chat with our dead girlfriend. Yeah, Isaac's officially crazy at this point, but can you really blame him? To be fair, I think I am too at this point.
I'm so over her, honestly.
With no saves left at this point, all we had to do was survive 3 more chapters and we would finally be done. That plan lasted all of about 5 minutes though. Straight away you're thrown into quite a large fight and my fingers seemed to press every single button other than the heal button. So all my medkits went to waste and sure enough I died.
Oh fuck. Not a great start.
Ignoring that minor blip, it was time to focus up now. Chapter 13 turned out to be an incredibly long and combat heavy chapter, but some holy spirit seemingly took over my hand, and what followed was possibly the greatest masterclass in both shooting and strategy that my little pea brain has ever managed to produce. Oh, what was that? That initial combat room that killed me straight away?
Lady, mate.
The horde of enemies that try and rush you when you exit this room after turning off the power?
Wait! Yeah!
Oh, and as for the enemies in this cramped medical looking room?
Alright, Pinhead, your time is up.
Around halfway through chapter 13 they might have noticed I was getting just a little bit too confident. A pack stalker room appeared at this point, which is obviously my least favourite enemy ever, followed by this laser room which was an absolute nightmare. You can take a few hits from normal enemies so that's fine, but one wrong move at the lasers and I was done for.
Oh, I'm so scared. Fuck me, I'm so scared.
6 hours later.
After 5 minutes of shimmying around like I had ants in my pants, the next room really threw everything and the barn door at me. 2 floors absolutely crammed full of enemies, followed by an enhanced brute at the end. I was literally on my last few shots at the end of this section and my heart was beating out of my chest.
I nearly ran out of ammo there as well. Fuck me.
Fortunately, that brute was the last enemy in chapter 13. Unfortunately, we now had to deal with the eye poke machine, which is arguably scarier than any necromorph in the whole game. Our aim here is to guide this needle into Isaac's pupil, but unsurprisingly, his heart rate is through the roof and his eyes are jittering all over the place. You can complete this quite easily by instantly moving to just within a fraction of a millimeter of his eye and then just waiting for his eye to center. His eyes follow a set pattern, so whilst it's quite stressful getting this done because obviously you can kill yourself instantly, as long as you take your time and concentrate, it is very doable.
Literally, it says, I don't know if you'll see that. You see that? Your stress level is unusually high. Relax with the breathing activity. My heart is pumping. My heart rate is literally 107.
One of the scariest parts of the game is now obviously behind us and we were so close to the end. Chapter 14 is only about 10 to 15 minutes long, but we're being chased by a regenerator the whole time. This regenerator will chase you tirelessly and he can't be killed, but dismembering him will slow him down whilst he has to take time to regrow his limbs. There are quite a lot of enemies in this short level and there's a dodgy 0G section again, but we flew through it with minimal issues and we were now at the final chapter. Chapter 15 is another short one. The regenerator is still chasing you and you have a few more minutes where you're swarmed by enemies as you run through the level, but very quickly we arrive at the final fight of the game. This final battle starts with us killing Tideman, who's the main bad guy from the game, after he attempts to stop us escaping, before having a final face-off in a hallucination against our own dead girlfriend. Yeah, bit odd, I know. Now, the one thing I did look up, other than recommended places to save in this game, was recommended weapons for the boss fight. So the goal of this boss fight is to damage Nicole enough to phase her, opening the heart and allowing you to damage it. You do this cycle 3 times and then the fight is over. Almost everyone recommended the contact beam to phase her quickly and it works an absolute treat here. As well as Nicole, the pack also chases you throughout this fight, but because the contact beam does so much damage, the pack is almost irrelevant because they barely get any time to get to you. Now, in a devastating turn of events though, as I reached the final phase of this fight and I literally have to shoot Nicole in the heart once more each, she spawns literally 1 step ahead of me and grabs me instantly. Now unfortunately this kills me because once she gets a hold of you, there is literally no surviving it.
I'm fucking seething. She spawned on me. Oh mate, this feels like so long ago. I'm still so bitter she killed me, or made me kill myself yesterday. I hate her. I bloody hate her.
So I was understandably rather bitter at this point. After giving myself a day to recover, my next attempt wasn't quite so smooth. I flew through the first few combat rooms, but those spinning lasers that I spent ages dancing around at last time, well, I decided I'd try and go a little bit quicker because I was a bit more confident, and it seems that didn't quite work out particularly well for me.
Oh, that's such a good run.
I'm not quite sure how I seem to get worse the more familiar I get with the chapters, but it was driving me nuts. Our next attempt, we breeze through chapter 13, narrowly avoiding being splattered by the brute, and we progress on to chapter 14. Now this time around for chapter 14, I just wanted to rush the chapter as fast as I could. I had plenty of heals and I knew I'd be just fine. Unfortunately, at the end of the chapter, despite having a bunch of heals, I forgot to use any of them and I died again. You really just can't write it at this point. 9 deaths in, and that was it, the final straw. This time chapter 13 scared me half to death with jump scares, almost killed me at every corner, but I soldiered on and absolutely destroyed the brute at the end of it. Chapter 14, kill me, bless. I eat chapter 14 for breakfast. I sprinted through it at such speed I don't even think the necromorphs knew I was there. And chapter 15 rolled around and it was time. Nicole, a boss? Nonsense. I was the real final boss here. Okay, if I'm being honest, I got slapped around quite a lot here, but I came prepared with an offensive number of heals, so joke's on you, Nicole. After a much longer battle than my previous attempt, we finally destroyed the heart and Nicole was defeated. Now, hold on. Cut the epic music, because sadly we aren't done yet. Ellie decided to come back and save us here, but we have another bloody flying section where the environment can insta-kill us. They just love putting them in the game, don't they? We channel our inner Iron Man here, dodging the incoming debris, and we finally get pulled aboard the ship. And we were done with the game, finally.
Come on, grab me! Please grab me, please grab me! Oh mate, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? It's done! Oh mate, I'm so relieved. That is so stressful. That is a really fun challenge, but my god, when you lose a lot of progress, that destroys you. Can't believe it! It's done, guys. Finally done. So, our run clocked in at 7 hours 15, which is actually, funny enough, 5 minutes quicker than my initial playthrough on casual. And I did hardcore without a guide or anything, so I don't know how I did it quicker, to be honest. But almost 10 years on, we're done with hardcore finally.
Now, whilst I mess around in the background with my insta-kill unlimited ammo foam finger that I got for finishing hardcore, and also mop up my final achievements, I'd like to just thank everyone that got this far through the video. I really do hope you enjoyed seeing my pain and suffering, and if you'd like to see more in the future, please make sure to both subscribe and leave a like. I'll see you guys in the next one.
There we go, 2 for 100G, and the game is done.